Well, good morning. I'm back at the refuge. I'm standing on the observation tower here, looking over the Darbone National Wildlife Refuge, and I notice the water's creeping up on my road back here that I normally walk down to go back on the back side of some of the property to photograph. But soon the water will be all the way up to the bottom of this tower, and it will come up several feet, and you can see the water levels on trees back here in the back. It becomes a huge lake as things change, and as the floodwaters and snow melts and everything else from up north, and with the heavy rains that we've been having, all this will change. It'll be a different appearance altogether. I won't be able to go back and photograph in those areas, and already some areas are already flooded where I can't photograph. But things are changing always, it seems like, and in this life, how we handle those changes are very, very important. They can destroy us, or they can build us and make us stronger. And the Apostle Paul is a good example of someone who had learned to deal with change. And he writes it in his letter to the Philippians. He says, "Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content." Whether he was in jail or wherever he was, whether he was in want of food or hungry, or whether he was abounding in things, he learned to be content. He said, "I know both how to be abased and I know how to abound." In other words, he didn't let his abundance gender pride in his life, and he didn't let want or hunger bring forth fear in his life. He learned how to be content. "Wherein in all things I'm instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." You know, it's important for us today to learn how to deal with change. West Monroe football team didn't make it to the championship game. They lost a very difficult football game. A lot of people have lost loved ones to the coronavirus. There are people that are sick, and friends of mine and family members that have suffered through this virus. And so a lot of times people fear these things and the possibility that I'm going to get sick, or Charlotte might get sick, or somebody else in my family might get sick from this virus. And so we have to be careful, and it's right for us to be careful in what we do and how we handle ourselves. But it's important that foundationally, whether I die or live, whether I get sick or not get sick, whether I'm blessed not to get sick or whether I have to suffer through the sickness of a coronavirus, Paul learned how to be abased no matter what the circumstances. He learned how to abound. A friend of mine once said that he had reached maturity, or a certain level of maturity, when he learned how to react both to praise and to criticism the same way. And so in our hearts and lives, we have to understand what our foundation is, because the rains and the winds are going to come, and the floodwaters are going to rise, as they will here, and change is going to come in every life. But Jesus made that profound statement. He says, "He who hears my word and does it, he's built his house upon a rock. Those who hear his word and do not obey it build their lives on sand." And so we have to determine where our foundation is today. Is your foundation in Jesus Christ? Is your foundation in his word? Or is your foundation in science or your own ability to handle the circumstances that come your way? But there's one thing that you cannot handle, not by your own self-effort, and that is where you will spend eternity. That's going to be dependent upon what you do and what your response is to the gospel of Jesus Christ. That Jesus came and died. He was God in human flesh, a God-man, and he died in our place on the cross, shed his precious blood, and paid the penalty for our sin. And then on the third day, God raised his son from the dead, and he's back at the right hand of the throne of God today, and he's coming again. Now, you can believe that and have a solid foundation when it comes to facing death. Or you can reject it and go off into eternity uncertain. And without Christ, it is a certainty where you will spend eternity, according to the Word of God. And so how are you going to change, or how are you going to deal with change? That's important today. Here's your solid foundation for helping you to deal with change and circumstances in your life. I pray that you will read it and heed it today. God bless you.